मैं अपनी पब्लिक पर्सोना, अपनी जो स्टारडम की इमेज है, उससे थोड़ा वक्त निकाल के आई नीड अ लाइफ ऑफ माई ओन। सबसे पहले मैं एक आदमी हूँ, एक इंसान हूँ। मेरी एक बीवी है, मेरी बेटी है, मेरी माँ है, मेरे दोस्त हैं। और ये जो पर्सनल लाइफ है, जो पर्सनल साइड है, ये मेरे लिए सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है। दैट इज़ हु आई एम। मैं एक्टर 5-6 साल से हूँ, 32 साल से मैं इंसान हूँ।
But he also seems like someone who, at the peak of his career, would probably leave it.
Mainstream media has a perception that the last leg in any actor's life can shape up either of two ways. One includes fading away. This usually denotes actors who do great quality of work, have many highs at one point of time in their life, and just slowly and steadily we get to see way too little of them. They transition to appear sporadically and showcase their ability and magic, but mostly have taken a backseat from the popularity and regularity with which they once featured. In context to Bollywood films, one would equate the same to a talented powerhouse like Akshay Khanna, who was a leading man and a star in his own right, but slowly and steadily faded away to rarely feature in roles. But when he did, we were constantly reminded of his boundless ability and wished for him to feature in more projects. Two includes burning out, where an individual has amassed a huge fan following and were extremely popular in one phase of their life, but never really adapted to understand the changing times. This usually is denoted by actors who indulge in doing underwhelming work and still reminiscing about the good old days when they were stars. With respect to Hindi cinema, one can equate the same to Govinda or the kind of projects that actors like Rajesh Khanna were doing in the latter half of their career that really tarnished their legacy. But I would want to add a third category in this unpredictable and oscillating life of actors that includes simply falling out of love and going cold turkey when you have the best years in front of you. And when I think about this third category, oftentimes I get flashes of the unpredictable, extremely popular but brief journey of Imran Khan. You have to understand that for most 90s kids, Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na came into our lives when we were young teenagers, and in the sea of epic romantic films that ruled in the mid 2000s, this was the rare teenage romance that genuinely seemed cool and something that my demographic immediately connected to and largely celebrated. An introduction of fresh new faces, a college romantic comedy set in Mumbai, and a storyline that, if you reflect back upon, might be straightforward but was sprinkled with such inventive moments of comedy and unique storytelling by Abbas Tayarwala, one could not help themselves but revisit several of its moments. I still remember raving about the fact on how they managed to assemble such a talented supporting cast together. How is it that the music composed by A.R. Rahman was so magical that I still revisit it today? And how the hell did Pappu become the director of Gehraiyan 14 years later? Imran Khan as the vibrant, charming and lovable Jay became an instant favourite. The infectious chemistry with Genelia aside, everyone was taken aback by his flawless genetics and basically became that one young actor back in the day who all my female friends gushed upon when we were growing up. In the mid-2000s, while the usual suspects like the Khans, Hrithik Roshan and Akshay Kumar ruled various genres, each one having done really well in a year versus the other, the only two new faces that one would talk about when everyone was thinking about the next big thing, especially with male actors, was between Imran Khan and Ranbir Kapoor. Everyone was floored with their charm as they hosted award shows and featured on talk shows together, and one clearly could tell that their creative choices in the future would definitely dictate the fate of their career. While one was clearly more versatile and had a larger range, the other made the most of his appearance and charm by featuring in primarily the romantic genre, where the audience is also very forgiving if one is easy on the eye. What one can't deny also regarding both the careers of the actors is that they come from film families and receive the necessary push required in terms of getting regular work and visibility. Ranbir, coming from the Kapoor clan, had a lot of expectations, and Imran Khan from the famous Amir Khan clan also had a point to prove. It is undeniable that many people still reminisce about the simpler time, and while some of it is just about a period where you had no responsibilities, it was also about the kind of films you saw when you had no care in the world, and Imran's popular films in his filmography were the perfect nonchalant and sweet entertainers that barely exist today in the Hindi film industry. The limitations of the ability and range of the actor aside, Imran would more than compensate with his charm and screen presence and somehow would just do enough to get the pitch of the storyline exactly on point. Films like I Hate Love Stories, Break Ke Baad, Mere Brother Ki Dulhan, and one of my favorite from his appearances, Ek Mein Aur Ek Tu, accounted for heartfelt storylines, upbeat and impactful music, and the perfect reason for an outing with friends or a partner. These movies never overwhelmed you in having to wrap your heads around Easter eggs, possible extensions of franchises, of how the worlds will expand, and even more cameos. They were simply fun, and somehow it was enough. While I do rave and reminisce about a simpler time and a dying genre in Hindi cinema in terms of romance, it was also clear that the criticism of the actor on his ability as a performer was justified. And from what I hear, and this is all speculation, the man seemed to want to get out of being typecast as the typical romantic hero, so there was a conscious attempt by him to step away from the genre and try new subjects. This is where the frailties of Imran as a performer were exposed, as he could not piggyback simply owing to his charm and had to dig deep into characters that went beyond the scope of just being the lovable, approachable young hero. Movies like Luck and Kidnap early in his career terribly failed, and his attempt to venture into the worlds of Vishal Bhardwaj and Milan Luthria later in his career in the form of Matru Ki Bijli Ka Mandola and Once Upon a Time in Mumbai Dobara were unanimously panned by critics and rejected by the masses. The only experiment that one can think of, and is still in my eyes one of the best comedies of Hindi cinema that was celebrated by each and everyone despite the controversies surrounding it, was Delhi Belly, a film that I won't be ashamed to admit that I saw in the theatre 3 times. If insider news is to be believed, Gori Tere Pyar Mein and Katti Batti were attempts to recreate the same magic that Imran showcased at the start of his career in the romantic genre. But due to the lackluster scripts and poor attempts to have a glimmer of the same magic, the stories just did not connect with the audience, making people contemplate whether Imran would be fit for a future in films. Slowly and steadily, we just got to see less of the man and assumed that he had fallen out of love with movies and acting, leading to taking a long hiatus from the industry. Personal setbacks aside that I have no business on dwelling upon, it was lovely to see that the actor returned and donned the role of a director, helping in formulating the short film Mission Mars in 2018. The man is a very private person, and even though speculation and rumors keep on floating on when we will see him as an actor on the big screen again, I think close friends and acquaintances have made it very clear that the actor has more or less retired from the acting profession, and if he does return, it will be in the form of a writer or director. Irrespective of the eventual outcome, the assessment that I have is that the unpredictable nature of the industry can really shape up one's career and their ultimate direction in any way. One thing is clear though in my mind, I don't think the memories of what he provided to us as we experienced our formative years will ever go away, and I can't wait to see what the creator has up his sleeve if he does return behind the camera. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what is your assessment of the industry and how Imran Khan's career panned out. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.